All right, so I'm here with Peter Smith, the Smith's Gym here in Fourways. Peter, firstly, how you been doing over these last couple of years?
Hayden, been going great. New adventures coming up now, and going bigger and better than before. And I'm so excited about the boxes and my new two breeds that are coming through. So really pushing for bigger and greater things.
Well, let's touch on that as well. I mean, we can obviously everyone knows Kevin Lerena, Keaton, Rowan Campbell over the years, Chris Van Heeren. Let's talk about the two new boxes that you have in the gym. What can you tell me about them?
Well, you know what? I've got two youngsters that I'm growing up through the ranks and in the amateurs. So the tough part of it is there's not much amateur boxing going on, and they've been trying to get fights, and they had a few, and they've had a great base of what they've done in the amateur in the careers. And I thought finally, how long can you hold on to go somewhere in amateurs when you're not experiencing nationals, and there's just not enough information, there's not enough tournaments, there's not enough competition for these guys. So I said to him, well, listen, boys, Kevin did, like Keaton did, let's not stick around in amateurs too long if it's not giving you any benefits. Let's move you into professional ranks and, make a career. Because that's what they want to do. As the first question is, what do you want to do? Where you want to go with your boxing? And then, coach, I really want to fight, and become a professional and hopefully one day SA champion and then venture onto world titles,
I want to find out what it is as well, because you seem to like the bigger guys as well. No one from, let's talk about middleweight upwards. Is there a reason for that?
I think my understanding, because I've been a professional fighter all my life as a heavyweight and a bigger fighter, I find, knowing the bigger guys is I'm not going to try and wrap up every division, what I'm saying, where I can think, because every division has a different meaning, different purpose of how to train for a different division. Because you find the lighter guys, they move on different technicalities, like a Lomachenko versus a Usyk. Great, both two of my favorite guys as far as you can see. Me personally right now, Usyk's proven pound for pound one of the best in the world. But if you take a Lomachenko and you take a Usyk, the dynamics in the heavyweight and dynamics in a lighter weight division, it does change. The skill levels are the same in many ways, but the fight strategy becomes, the lighter the guys, the finer the actual errors are made. It's so fast. The game is so fast. Where the heavyweights is power. So it's dynamic knockouts. It's dynamic. The lightweight guys like Tank is a devastating knockout puncher. He's a kind of the heavyweight guy in the smaller divisions. But that's the powerhouses that I look for. I really look for dynamic. The big guys and what they can do. I like moving from, say, middleweight up or welterweight. I actually like welterweight up.
Okay.
The lighter the guys, there's a lot more science in weight loss, and it's risky for a lot of guys. You putting a lot on the line. These guys are cutting weight, and it's not the greatest thing for a lot of fighters, because they like to, they walk around at this weight and they want to cut down 2 divisions down. It's really you should find your way in your weight division instead of trying to kill your weight down because you want to fight, because you're a bigger guy. You're trying to fight lighter guys to be overbearing on your strength, and it doesn't really work. So it's a different mentality as well that you're dealing with.
Well, with the 2 new guys that go pro, obviously they fight at a level where you can't really cut weight too much, because you almost fight the same day as you weigh in sometimes, or maybe you've got a restricted period of time. How do you assess these boxers in their weight divisions? Where do you think they'll land up, finishing in which weights?
Are you talking about
these guys?
My current guys?
Yeah. Where do you think? Which divisions do you think they'll box in?
Well, Gary and Spatzel really, they kind of got their point where they've grown and matured to a point where they are. They're still young, so I think they kind of could fill out to light heavyweight, cruiserweights. I'd like to see them at super middleweight, round about there. I think Spatzel's got to fix his eating. I bust him on his eating. I always tell the guys, your nutrition is very important, and a lot of fighters neglect that because they train so hard. And the problem is, if you don't get, and this is my advice to a lot of fighters out there, if you don't get your nutrition right and you're cutting corners and you think you don't have to because you train hard, I can eat anything, you need to really look at your nutrition because it's going to help with your performance and your recovery. So where my boys will end up going, I don't mind where they're at. I don't mind where they're going to end up at. Long as wherever they are, they find themselves at their strongest point, And I can always know that they're not weakening themselves because my training is very intense. And when I say very intense, my skill levels are very intense. To carry all these things together, you got to really have all your kind of things in the boxes, ticked.
All right, no, they're 100%, and we've seen that with the boxes before. The performances, you're very results orientated. You get good results. It's noted for people that see it on TV. One guy that disappeared off the scene, and I'm not sure what he's doing right now. Rowan Braveheart Campbell. What happened to Rowan, and is he ever going to box again?
I think married. He got married. He got married. You know what? It's funny because Rowan had a lot of potential. I think things changed for him when the responsibilities of his life started changing. Certain things become kind of like boxing is a very dedicated sport, as you know. It's like you can't get away with much. It's a very lonely sport for a lot of guys. I loved it because I was disciplined enough to enjoy what I was doing, so I could cut out the party life. I could cut out, just things that would be distracting for the fight game. And I think for Rowan, Rowan's, he's a smart guy and he's really, I think, he got married and, I think responsibilities of being married is one thing in your life as well. You've got to take care of that too. So I think for him, it was like, maybe he thought to himself, do I have a career in this game? Because, Rowan was actually just finding himself. I'll be honest with you. He started with a dynamite, in his career. He fought some dangerous fighters that most people wouldn't fight at an early stage, And even taking Lerena was too early. And I didn't want to fight at the time, but he insisted. So I was like, are you sure? But it's like, it was too early for him. But you know what? I think he wanted it bad enough to see, how deep in boxing he wants to go. And, maybe was his finding out of what he wants out of boxing. And he got to a point where I don't think in his mind he wanted to retire, but I think everything is surrounding him kind of forced him into retirement.
And how did you take that?
You journey together. It's a loss. It's a loss. It's time spent on my side. I give a lot of my time, my dedication, and my skills and development into these guys. On the one part, I understand life, so I don't take it to heart. Yet alone, when guys start, if I'm committing, they got to commit. You know what I mean? And there's some fighters that'll waste your time, and there's some fighters that'll, like Kevin. Kevin's been through a hell of a lot. Kevin's been through, life cycles that I thought some people would move out of boxing. And one thing I've got to commend Kevin for, he's got a strong mind. He knows that's his lane. He's staying on the lane. Everything else has got to move away, And that's where, look, I as a coach has got to give him also my side of things, because as much as life overwhelms you and distractions, we work together, and him and I worked so well together like that. So we've got a good understanding. So it's motivating for me. That's what makes me stay in the game longer. Because when I've got dedicated fighters who don't waste my time, I'll stay in the game. But when I've got guys that waste my time, it's got a bit of a disheartening, like it gives you a bit of a, you wasted my time. But anyway, there is value in it. Maybe I gave him some value in his life. I don't know. Maybe I give another fighter value in a career of another sort. So there is value in it. So I don't get too hard about it. But you have to, you have to understand boxing is a very hard game, and it's a very, when people tell me they want to fight, oh, they walk in my gym, oh, I want to be a fighter. And I look at them and I start asking the questions. I'm like, nah, you think you want to be a fighter. It's not that easy, So, yeah, I mean, it's fun. We have good times. I've had great times with Rowan. I've had great times with my fighters in the past. Me and Kevin on an amazing road together. And him and I got great memories. Keaton's my other boy, and Keith and I are having a great time. I mean, we got a love for each other, my boys, and that's who I want to walk with. I don't want to walk with just like, guys that sugarcoat the game or sugarcoat what I do and everything. It's like you got to take it serious. It's a very hard, dedicated line, and even as a coach, it takes a lot from a coach. Most fighters don't know, but coaches take a lot out of their lives to help fighters to get to where they want to. So, yeah, I mean, there is a give and take in it, definitely.
I know a lot of people are probably going to want to hear about Kevin, but before we get to Kevin, Keaton Gomes, he's just been through surgery, obviously to recover his jaw from a broken jaw. His recovery, but he seems to be very keen to come back, and he looks like he wants to push for that rematch as well, for a trilogy.
Yeah,
what's your thoughts on that?
He's a crazy boy. I love him. He put it this way, he shouldn't have lost the fight, knowing what we went through. Firstly, I was actually going to explain this on the YouTube channel before, immediately after the fight. Keaton didn't have one round of sparring for that fight. So we went into that fight, we shopped around. Some guys said they would dedicate and help us out, they never pitched. So anyway, that's one part of the cycle. The other part of the cycle was Keaton was very fired up for keeping his belt and beating Sean again. I think Keaton he had what it takes. I think he was winning up to the fourth round. Fifth round, he broke his jaw. And the first thing he said to me in the corner, I saw the blood coming out of his mouth, and he said to me, Coach, I think I broke my tooth. I looked at him, I said, what do you mean? Yeah. Are you all right? He says, no, I'm all right. We can go on. Meanwhile, he couldn't bite down on his gum guard. The pain he was going through, he didn't want to disappoint me, which was, I always tell my guys, communicate, man. Don't feel like obliged to. I would rather stop the fight instead of going another 5 rounds on with a broken jaw. So the doctors said, wow, it was such a bad break that it could have been a career ender. It was millimeters away of being a career ender. And I couldn't believe that night I took him to the hospital. And the guy was jaw was shut. I said, Keaton, he opened his mouth. He could hardly open his mouth. I looked at the back of his mouth, and it looked like his jawbone sunk, and the back of his tooth was up. So I looked at it, looked kind of weird. I said, Keaton, that's not a broken tooth, bud. Yeah. So anyway, we went off to the hospital, and the next day he had the surgery, and doctors gave us a rap and said, it's a miracle he went that far, and it's a miracle he actually took the impact. And he even said to me in the rounds, he because of the shock and the nerves detached, he was getting like these shocks of pain that were actually almost like making him pass out. It's a miracle he went to 11th round. And I'll tell you one thing, I doubt Sean wants to fight Keaton again. But it's got to happen. It's a one-on-one. Sean's a great guy. And you know what? I said, Gert, and these are my words, I said, I'm happy for Sean, because he's put so much in his career, and he's become a champion as well. Because somebody show for it. He's an unbelievable guy. He's an unbelievable fighter, great fighter. He made that fight great. Him and Keaton together made that fight great. I mean, it was a nail-biting scenario. I think Keaton was just not following through, but I think the delay on some of the things that we went through in training versus the sparring, and actually the biggest problem we had a year layoff. Yeah. And my biggest crux about that, I was very angry about that, because at the time when I was working with Ronnie Berman, we had an agreement that he was going to fight again, and he knowing that we're going to help Kevin, I kind of said, can you get Keaton on the card, and the next minute, yeah, you're gonna help Kevin. We're gonna put it on. We'll make it happen. And when the fight was announced for Kevin, we saw the undercard. Keaton wasn't on the bill, and I sent Jeff a message. I sent Rodney a message. Is Keaton off the card? To this day, I can show you the SMS. I haven't had a reply. So that was rude. Firstly, disgusting actually, and you just find out what type of career you're laying out for your boys. So change your plans now. So I'm excited now. We're going to walk a different path now, and Keaton will be hopefully fighting before the end of the year. His jaw's mending, and I'd like to get him a nice fight to come back on, and then hopefully next year we can get the SA title back. And we would actually, I'll be honest with you, we actually want to fight Ruan Visser. We want to fight pretty much everybody that's available next year. So Keaton's so fired up. When he was actually in hospital, he was begging me, Coach, please give me the rematch when I come right. I said, Keaton, just relax. Please, Coach. He's begging me now, and I'm like, just relax. We'll get the fight, and Sean's he'll be SA champion again. I think, I don't know if they are going to fight him and Chris Thompson. I'm not sure yet, but that'll be a nice fight as well. So if Chris wins, we would fight Chris, and then we'd definitely want to fight Sean again. Just redeem the loss and get his career back on edge. But this time do it right. Sometimes I take responsibility for my parts, and the sparring was a bit of a problem. I should have actually imported sparring when there was no sparring here. I said should have, could have, would have, but it was a hard thing to do. And that's why with Kevin, I actually bring in international sparring. There's no one for him to spar here. And when you do, a lot of guys do try and help him out. And we just try and get, we're actually working with Sean right now for Kevin.
Yeah.
So Sean's doing great. Sean's actually doing wonders for us. And thanks to Sean being one of the South African guys that actually comes about and spars us, he's been a great help, and hopefully we'll help to him.
Yeah, well, that leads into my next topic. Obviously, great sparring for Sean as well. It's going to level him up as well. Kevin Lerena, big talking points about, he put a statement on social media saying he had officially left his previous promoter. And, of course, that was a massive statement, shocked South African boxing. I don't think anyone could see it. It was almost like you felt like they were in a marriage together, and they split there because him and his promoter, that is, because, they were that close. Now he's on international waters. You guys are traveling the world. You've seen a lot of things. In retrospect, and now that he's at where he's at in his career, you guys are moving in that space. What's your thoughts on that, on the breakup?
Best thing ever happened, because I was going to move away long ago, because never mind, it wasn't even there between Kevin and Rodney. It was actually myself. I mean, behind my back, when you going behind my back to my fighter, and you speaking and you're signing contracts on my behalf, which is fraud, that's disgusting. I'll speak it out. I've got nothing to hold back. That's the reason things parted. And I said, Kevin, when you're in Saudi and you're getting messages, not like wishing you guys well, geez, we're rooting for you, can't wait for you guys. I mean, if things was on a, we still came back and paid Rodney for nothing. We did the work. Kim came back and paid him. So let it be. It just didn't work out. I mean, you can't work with somebody that doesn't work with you. So it's like, just, you know what I mean? It's just like wrong. And, so be it. We're happy. It's no ill harm or anything to no one. It's just like things got to be done right. And, it's like business. Yeah. If you do business and you got integrity and you got honesty and you got loyalty, you carry on doing business with a person. But things happen, and it's like, if they don't work out, they don't work out. And, we're just happy to be where we are. And it's like, we wish everyone well. Kevin's got to do what Kevin's got to do. Kevin's on a global scale right now, and come high or hell, we're just going to keep going where we need to go. And the doors are opening up for us wherever we go Kevin goes to the UK and is treated like royalty. On 90,000 people, he's on stages sitting on the mic. I couldn't go with him that time. I was supposed to be there with him. I mean, why not? Why not? He's in a perfect place for what he's doing. You can't. It's like a flower. If it doesn't grow, it's going to die. So Kevin's growing and he's blossoming. So, he's seen the lights. He's seen where he needs to be. So he's enthusiastic. He comes to gym. He's training more than ever. He's calling out big names, and he's not shying away from it. He's not going there for paydays. He's going for the win. Boxing's hard. Heavyweights is hard. So we're going to take the risk. Why not? There's nothing to lose. There's nothing to lose. He's actually done very well for where he's come from. Very well. And I still think there's a lot for Kevin out there. I think there's a big shot for him. So we just got to get back. Hopefully December, we're waiting on the call. Either December or next year, early next year.
I wanted to ask about your relationship. Now that we're talking about the overseas boxing, your relationship with the Fury family as well. We saw that you guys obviously did some sparring there, and you fought on one of the tournaments that he was associated with. Tell us about it.
That's incredible. The Fury family are amazing. I love Tyson. He's such a good guy. We've never been treated so well, and they really loved us. And we hopefully maybe going back into camp with him. I guess maybe October, November. It's probably November, December, somewhere in that early time. And we hopefully get to see him again soon. We in good relationship with him. He invites. He said, anytime you come in the UK, you come stay at my house. So we got a great relationship with him. And through everything, and Spencer, who's like, Spencer are going to co-manage Kevin. So we're gonna work with Kevin. So we've got plans, but now it's patience, because now everything is like at a serious point where whatever we pick and whatever we go, it's got to be picked to get ourselves to the top. It's like Usyk. We're gonna do what Usyk done. Bit by bit, he took fight by fight, 1-1-1. So Kevin, unfortunately, had a bit of a loss with Huni losing his mom. I don't even know how he took that fight, but it showed the courage and the warrior spirit he has. He flew the flag. He didn't disgrace himself. I actually thought he won that fight. But you know what? It was a tough one, because he did have a draw in the middle where he lagged. But he came back. He was the highlight of the fight. Like, every part of the fight that was shown was Kevin in the beginning smashing him, had him out, and then towards the end, the last 2 rounds, he had him gone. But, it's not easy knocking men out who also want to knock you out. So, we had it. At Dubois, we had it. But it's like, I think at this stage, Kevin's learning to adapt now into that environment, because the stage is lit. And when you're that big, you see what you've done. Your mind's absorbing. You've never been there. You've been on a small Emperor's 1,000 people, and now you're sitting in 60,000 crowd. It's insane.
Yeah, you can't
it's insane. No, you can't. Your mind can't absorb it in that moment. So Kevin's getting comfortable in the surroundings, and that's where he belongs. So we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
What's the latest on the Bridgerweight situation? Because we saw Okoli, obviously that fight, is it still negotiating? Is it going to happen? Or, is Kevin looking at heavyweights?
I'll be honest with you. I don't think the Bridgerweight is right now doing what we expected. I think it needs some big names, big rivalry. The problem is that Lawrence is not taking the fight when it's given to him. It's not like he's not taking it. I think he's looking for bigger things. I think he wants to go heavyweight. Right. And also, we've been steered into heavyweights. So excuse me, it leaves us going, okay, we got the bridgerweight here, but what are we going to do? So yes, we can. We're lucky. We can dice both ways. On a monetary position, it won't be as exciting as going for the big, from business point, going for the heavyweight guys, but it's something. I'll be honest with you, bridgerweight is something. There's a WBC, it's new. It's got a historic factor. Kevin could be the first South African bridgerweight in history to make it. Eventually, I want to see Keaton going that way first. Before
he's probably about the right size for
he's perfect for that for the weight division. But you know what? I'll be honest with you. Usyk's a small guy in the heavyweight division, and look how good he is. He's, to me, pound for pound, the best in the world. And I called it. I didn't think I knew he was going to become champion, but I didn't think he was going to beat Fury easy. But when it came to seeing what he did with AJ. And seeing what he did with Dubois, I thought it was going to be a harder fight than what they thought it was going to be. So, I think it's going to be a hard guy to beat Usyk. But I know Dubois would want to. His confidence is growing.
He wants Usyk.
So that's going to be it's going to be a humdinger. If it happens again, it's going to be a hell of a fight.
And do you think, because I know that the last camp that Fury went into with Usyk, Kevin wasn't there for sparring, but he was there in the one before the injury happened to Fury. Now that Kevin's back in with Fury, potentially, if you guys go through there, do you think that will give Fury an edge, because the styles are very similar, same stature in terms of southpaw?
Definitely. Kevin's got that head movement. He's got that ability that he kind of moves like a Usyk in a way. He's a heavier version. When I say heavier set than Usyk. But there was Moses Tuma that was with us. He's a superstar as well. So Tyson's got a great camp behind him. I'm not sure if he'll take Moses this time, because I think he's moved into AJ's camp, and I don't think he'll be there for the training camp. But Tyson is a machine. He's amazing. He's a big guy. When you look at him, how he moves, and he's got a great mind. He's got a great mental boxing ability. So he's adaptable. I think this time around, it's going to be a harder fight for Usyk, because a guy like Fury knows what he's doing in there. I just got to say one thing: how he approaches this training camp is going to be more serious than what I saw in the previous camp, because he knows what he's up against now. This is like he's going to be eating, sleeping boxing, which he does. He did in the first camp, but I didn't see that much input as I would have thought in the training of boxing. What some days were like, wow. I was like, okay, they weren't like as hectic, where I put in a lot of hours. I thought maybe I'm overdoing it, but not really. It's like it goes down to a lot of things: planning, what's your strategy for the fight, and that's what's going to make a big difference in the second fight. What's the strategy here? Obviously you got to deal with Usyk. What's his strategy? Yeah. He's got a hell of a skill level, and he can change things there as well. So.
Yeah, that's world level heavyweight boxing for you, though. It's like, it's amazing, and
it's crazy.
And hopefully, Kevin can jump on one of those cards as well. That would be great.
Yeah. Look here, Kevin's made a huge impact, and people have respected him for what he's achieved. Even looking at what he did with Dubois was a massive achievement, because now you can see what really Dubois. I said to Kevin one thing. I said, Kev, we lost a lottery ticket here, but we actually. It's like you had the lottery ticket in your hand, you just gave it to some stranger to cash in. So, it was a hard pill to swallow for him and I. And but you know what? Let's get back at it. Forget the past. Let's move forward. Let's show them what we can do, and not what we're going to be living in the past. What shoulda, coulda, woulda. Kevin proved that he's a threat, and he's somebody serious to look at.
Talking about moving forward, I saw a social media post as well. Yourself, Kevin, Larry Weinstein, and Skippy were all around the table together.
Yeah. Listen, you know, I mean, Colin and I have always been mates in a far way. You know, this is boxing, and you know, like things happen in boxing. You know, like it's his team, my team, their team, whatever team. You know, so it's like Man United playing Liverpool. I mean, this is what sport's about. You know, and I don't take anything hard. I've been a fighter all my life. I understand the game. I've lived there where I've gone against trainers' camps, and you know, there's turmoil, and you fighting this guy, and it's like, you know, it's like when me and Antonel fought, you know, he was with Nick Durant, I was with Harold at the time. Shame Allen passed away just before that, and you know, things changed for me, but it was like there was rivalry, and me and Antonel are good friends, and it's like sport, man. It's like, you know, it's the beauty of sport. I mean, if it wasn't competitive, if me and like the boys were all like you know, I take nothing personal. Yeah. I understand the game. Yes, I stand up for my rights and I stand up for my way. So do they. But we in it together, you know. And Colin's got insight now of boxing. Now he's learned a lot of things, which him I addressed sitting down, and we laughed at it. And it's, you know, it's the beauty of the sport. And I know Larry and Rocky, and they're my boys. They're like the Weinstein family from my dad's days. You know, they like my dad's. They love my dad, and so we've all been in it together. So it's like the beauty of this game is like, you know, we're going to work together. You know, and Colin and I are doing great things. You know, and I said to Colin, listen, man, we can help each other, lean on each other, and work together, or we can do the same thing as what other people do to break boxing up. Remember, I've been a fighter, so my attitude is I'm here for the boys. I'm here for the fighters, because I know what happens when the wrong people get involved in this game. They destroy the sport because of their greed, because of their, I don't know, the insecurity. They don't want to work together because of money. Money is a terrible thing, man. Money separates people, and the greed just sets things apart, you know. So I understand everyone's trying to make a living, but if you do it right, everyone can win. Everyone can win.
100%. I agree with that, Peter. And you know, just lastly, because I think we've covered a good array of topics there, and I'm just happy, obviously, to come back to the gym again and you know, be involved. Obviously, the powers that be in between the years have obviously denied that opportunity, but we're here again, and we're talking. And I just wanted to wish you all the best. Do you want to just say any thank yous, any shout outs, just lastly?
Yeah, you know, I just want to thank the guys, Habanero, my sponsor, and Cizanani Plastics, that always been behind me, and you know, they've been great to me, my sponsors, and all the guys that are sponsoring Kevin and I. Geez, I can't even think of all the names that are with us there. It's you know, all you see the list of what Kevin and I go through, World Sport Betting. Geez, I'm gonna end up wrapping it up here, but you know, all the guys that really are always behind us. You know, one thing about this game, money to help these guys have their careers, that, you know, it's all in. It's like a 24/7 career, and it's hard to have a job and do this career. And you know, these guys have supported us, as well as, you know, all the fans that come and support us. You know, I want to give a shout out to them. You know, these people have always been behind the Smith banner and our fighters and our teams. And you know, when we go to stadiums, we're filling out Emperor's Palace to the max, and you can see it every time on the showdown. So we're so grateful for our fans who follow us, our friends and family. They are family, they are friends to us always. So, and thanks to you guys, that, you know, what you guys do for boxing. And you know, as you say, life has got twists and turns, but it's always the best come out at the end. So I thank you as well.
Thank you very much, Peter, and we're going to see what happens over the coming months. I'm sure we're going to be catching up again soon.
Thanks, Aiden.